Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're going to break down the best tips and tricks for visiting Universal Orlando during the rain. Now, of course, if you haven't been to Florida, you might not know that it does rain a lot, especially if you're visiting during the summer months or, the early fall, which is still hurricane season. It's going to rain. There's really no getting around it, nothing you could do, but don't worry about the rain. We do have some tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your time in the parks, even when you do have to deal with some of those showers. So if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip, just be sure to stick around until the end of this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. Thank you again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are about to break down the best tips and tricks for visiting Universal Orlando during the rain. And of course, as always, if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip and you do need more additional videos just like this, just be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get the latest and greatest tips and tricks videos as we release them. Now, we're going to jump right in, and just a quick little background on, the rain in Florida. I briefly touched on this in the intro, but it is important to note that there are specific months where you can expect, it's more than likely going to rain. And, what I would say on the flip side of that is during these months, typically it will rain, once a day, but for the majority of the time, it might rain for a half hour here, 45 minutes, and then it will stop, right? So there are ways to plan around that. And for the most part, it's not going to ruin your entire day. Now, of course, just like anywhere in the world, right? Will you have those days where, yes, it might rain all day? Yes, of course. But we still have some tips and tricks in this video that will help you, still get the most out of your day. So the important thing to keep in mind is typically for the most part, when we talk about, the rain season, it really is those summer months that we're going to see it. Hey, it's 100% going to rain, once a day, specifically towards the end of the summer. So I would say August, September, early October. And for the most part, we typically will see the most rain between March through October. It's also important to note that there is hurricane season, which technically I believe starts at the end of June, but really when we see hurricane season pick up is going to be, again, the end of the summer through, early fall. So really it becomes the biggest issue in August, September, and October. Now, of course, with that being said, here are the best tips and tricks to get the most out of your time at Universal, even if it is raining. Now, we're going to start with number one. This is kind of a money-saving, tip, and we would say don't forget to pack, ponchos, umbrellas, anything that you can bring from home that you can avoid buying in the parks, bring from home. I would say ponchos, 100%. I don't see the point in not bringing them, just because you can go to your local dollar store and grab ponchos for the families for $5, right? As opposed to paying $18 per poncho once you get to the park. So that's kind of a no-brainer, and that's a very low risk, high reward scenario that I 100% would do. The other thing I love about the ponchos too, and this is kind of like a tip and trick on top of the tip and trick, is even if it doesn't rain, you can still use them, let's say, to go on some of the water rides, right? If you're in Islands of Adventure, there are 3 water rides. You can put a poncho on if you don't want to get soaked and still enjoy the ride, but not get soaked, like I said. So that's like a kind of win-win in my books. Then also some of the other things you don't want to forget, when specifically trying to plan, like, hey, what happens if it rains, is think about the shoes that you're wearing, right? A lot of families will wear Crocs. Crocs are really, really popular in the theme park community. Also, think about maybe bringing a change of clothes, or specifically a change of socks, right? Because there's nothing worse than, walking around in soggy socks all day. So those are just some of the other tips and tricks that you can kind of keep in mind and make sure to take advantage of. Also, this is kind of an odd one, but it is one that is really, really important, especially with all the smart technology that we have these days. Ziploc bags, right? Because again, same thing. If it rains, you could put your phone into a Ziploc bag. You don't have to worry about your phone getting damaged. But also on those water rides, another thing that you could do is same thing. Put your phone in the Ziploc bag. And you don't have to worry about getting damaged. Those are one of those, it's like one of the things that you don't think about, like, that you'd be doing when you're planning a theme park vacation. Like, honey, you packed the Ziploc bags. But yeah, hey, you got to do what you got to do in life sometimes. Okay, over to the next tip and trick. And we would say, yes, does it suck that sometimes it can rain, and you don't want to have to deal with the rain and walk around and get wet during your theme park vacation? But on the flip side, one of the pros can be that a lot of families might avoid the theme park. So you'll really be able to get on a lot of the rides with lower wait times. And now this is not just for families who might be staying back at their hotel, but this is also important for Florida locals, right? Because if you're a Florida local and you can hit the parks, anytime if it's raining, you're definitely not going to go to the parks. Or I shouldn't say definite, because there are some really, really diehard fans out there, but you're more than likely, going to be able to take advantage of lower crowds during the rain if you're willing to weather the storms. And so now moving over to the next tip and trick, if you're going to pick between the two, and we did release this in one of our other videos earlier this year, but if you're going to pick between the two main theme parks, Islands of Adventure Park and Universal Studios Florida, which one is better for the rain? We would always lean towards Universal Studios Florida. We just feel like there's more for you to do over in this park. Actually, based on the numbers, there's actually 13 rides that are indoors in Universal Studios Florida versus 6 which are indoors over in Islands of Adventure. And I actually, in that number, I included the Hogwarts Express in both parks, just to give you an idea of kind of how we came up with those numbers. But again, if you're trying to get the most out of your day, Universal Studios Florida will give you the best chance to do that. And then another important tip and trick, of course, would be to focus on all of the outdoor rides in the morning, because a lot of times, especially in those summer months, we'll typically see the rain come in the afternoon, right? So by focusing on the outdoor rides in the morning, you can get those out of the way, and then you can focus on all the indoor rides, let's say later in the afternoon when it might, be raining. Another reason why we love this tip is because even if it doesn't rain, this tip is a great one, because especially in Florida, if you're visiting in those summer months, which it typically will rain, right? Like I said, it's also going to be extremely hot in the afternoon during the summer months. So, this is kind of, again, another win-win, where even if it doesn't rain, I don't see the downside of kind of going with this game plan, because then you'll at least be able to get out of the sun later in the afternoon and you can hit all the indoor rides then. And again, typically indoor rides will have air conditioning and stuff like that on the lines. So the outdoor rides that you'd want to hit in the morning is first and foremost going to be, of course, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, which we love to hit first thing in the morning during early park admission, regardless of if it's going to rain or not. Then we have the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. We have the Incredible Hulk Coaster. And then over to Universal Studios Florida, the main one that comes to mind is Rip Ride Rocket. Now, another really important, before I jump into the indoor rides, another really important tip and trick is a lot of families will ask me, like, hey, does Universal close the rides? If it's raining. And specifically for the outdoor rides, it's not so much the rain itself, it's if there's lightning in the area. So of course, guest safety is top priority, and lightning is one thing that both Disney and Universal do not mess around about. So, if there's lightning within the area, then yes, they will be closing, the outdoor roller coaster rides. But of course, it's temporarily, hopefully for that day anyway, until the storm passes and there's no more lightning in the area. And then, they will open up the outdoor rides once again. Okay, so moving over to the indoor rides that you want to focus on, specifically if it is raining during your time. And over in Universal Studios Florida, we do have Revenge of the Mummy, we have Men in Black Alien Attack, we have Transformers, The Ride 3D, The Simpsons Ride, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, Fast and the Furious Supercharged, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, E.T., the Universal's Horror Makeup Show, Animal Actors on Location, The Bourne Stuntacular. We can't forget about the new VillainCon Minion Blast. And then, of course, we have the Hogwarts Express. Now, over to Islands of Adventure Park, the indoor rides that we have are The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, Skull Island, Reign of Kong, and then we can't forget about The Cat in the Hat. Okay, so moving over to the next tip and trick, be sure to download, and we talk about this tip and trick constantly, but be sure to make sure you download the Universal Orlando app, because you can get updates on the Universal Orlando app. Let's say if a ride might be down, there's nothing worse than being in one park and walking over to another park, or being on one side of the park and going to the other side of the park to go on a ride. When you get over there, you realize that the ride is down, for inclement weather. So be sure to keep an eye on the Universal Orlando app, as it will verify ride operation statuses throughout the day. And then, like we said, just like the same thing with the rides, during those days when it might be raining can be a great time to take advantage of, let's say, some of those popular dining options with less, crowds and stuff like that, specifically over in the, theming areas of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, where maybe you could take advantage of, a great meal at the Three Broomsticks or the Leaky Cauldron, and it won't be as crowded as it might be during some of those other times of the year. Two locations, too, I believe are great locations if you are trying to just kind of like hop out of the rain, and wait for that storm to pass over. One of them is in the back of the Three Broomsticks over in Hogsmeade Village, and it kind of overlooks the Velocicosta area as well. So it's a really, really cool area. And then over in Diagon Alley, you can check out Nocturne Alley, which is another covered area that you can hop out of the rain for a little bit. And don't forget that another great tip and trick is to maybe even hop into some of those stores. Specifically, the stores in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter are really, really well done, and there's hidden details and like Easter eggs from the books and the movies. So you could definitely take advantage of that. And then for the families who are, maybe saying like, hey, we don't want to go to the theme parks, or we're going to wait out the storm back at the hotel, don't forget that all of the hotels do have arcade game rooms for the kids to keep them busy. In my honest opinion, if I had to pick one hotel that I would probably want to get, let's say stuck in or rained out at, it would probably be Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Report. I have to give a huge shout out to that bowling alley because I could pretty much bowl for days. So, from an extra amenity standpoint, I do believe Cabana Bay does have some really, really cool stuff going on. And then last but not least, don't forget that you can still have a great time over in Universal City Walk. Specifically, you can go and check out a movie. They do have a movie theater in Universal City Walk, and Universal also has a brand new escape room at City Walk. The escape room will probably only take you like an hour to maybe even an hour and a half, depending on which room you select. So that's not really an all-day thing. I guess the movies isn't an all-day thing, but it's the same thing. I could go to the movies all day if I really wanted to. So kind of just keep that in mind. But they are great alternatives, for a couple hours here, or just to get out of the rain for a little bit and wait to go back into the parks. But that is it, everyone. That is the tips and tricks video for visiting Universal Orlando during the rain. Don't forget, we don't want the rain to ruin your vacation. It is just kind of something that comes with visiting the sunny state of Florida, unfortunately. But with that being said, you could still see that there are some great ways to plan around the rain. There are some great ways to still make the most out of your family vacation. And if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando vacation and you do need a little additional help, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. And as a thank you for sticking around all the way till the end of this video, I actually do have a special promo code that you can go and use at theparkprodigy.com on some discounted Universal Orlando theme park tickets, or even booking a discounted Universal Orlando vacation package. And that promo code is going to be YouTube25. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.